Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Sintia from class B. Today I will review about biography book with title Autobiography by John Stuart Mill. John Stuart Mill, born in London on May 20, 1806. He is the oldest son of James Mill, the author of History of British India. His father was a small farmer at Northwater Bridge in the Ganges area. His father wrote and finished writing Indian history in 10 years. John was educated by his father. At the age 3, he began to study Greek. Aesop's Fables, the first Greek books he read. Besides Greek, he also studied arithmetic, which which was which was also taught by his father. In 8th year, John began to study Latin. From the 8th to the 12th year, the Latin books he had ever were Bucolics of Virgil, the first 6 books of Aeneid, the first 5 books of Livy, and several others. During the same years, John also studied geometry, algebra, differential calculus, and part of mathematics as a whole. At around the age of 12, John more John more advanced stage in his study, that is with logic, start with organon and read inclusive analysis. His father made John read all or part several Latin in treatises on scholastic logic. During this time, Latin and Greek books continued to be read by John because it was worth studying not only for language but for mind. This includes much of orator and especially Demosthenes and some of whose principal orations. His father also took more general things related to life. In early 1818, his father's books was published. In 1819, his father was appointed as one of assistant examiner in Indian correspondence. John grew up without religious belief because his father impressed him that the way the world emerged as a subject that that no that no one knew. That's question, who made me? It cannot be answered because the lack of authentic experience and information. His father died on June 23, 1836. In the summer of 1822, John 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 wrote first argumentative essays which contained an attack on what was thought to be an aristocratic prejudice that rich or most likely had moral qualities for the poor. In the winter of 2022, John formed a small community plan that would consist of young men who agreed to basic principle recognize utility as their standard in ethics and politics. Toward the end of 1822, John's first writing was printed in the traveler, traveler evening newspaper. In January and February, the paper by, written John a purpose of a debate in House Commons was included as the main article that the, the throughout 1823 his contribution was printed in the Chronicle and Traveler. And in May 1823, at the age 35, John worked as an employee in the Indian Correspondent Examiner Office under the leadership of his father. In 1826, John experienced mental crisis where he felt sadness without pain and emptiness. He sought help by reading books that he liked but ended up in vain. Finally, after trying everything, he found his way, that is through poetry, especially poetry by Wordsworth. In 1830 and 1831, he wrote five essays, since it was published with the title Essays about some political questions that have not yet been resolved economically. In 1832, he wrote several papers for the first series of Tits magazine and one of quarterly magazine called Juris. In 1943, he published his book with title Logic System. In addition, he also published several books with title Principal Political Economy, Liberty, and Representative Government. After retiring writing book, he entered a parliament, which was a member of the house for 3 years. I think that's enough for me. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.